So hello folks and welcome back. Sorry I haven't put anything out lately. I've kind of getting over COVID here. I'm still getting it over right now. But just so it's known, I have started recording the videos that were requested about getting onto other maps, how to do it. A new one came in as far as how to get on a map that is, or how to almost infiltrate a map that is already completely taken over by another alliance. So once I'm done, how do you get on a brand new map? I'll go ahead and make a couple videos about how to get on, or how to sneak on really, to a map that's already taken over by an enemy alliance. But for this particular video here, but I wouldn't have even noticed these guys if I hadn't taken a planet, or taken a gun rather, from this particular planet. So we're going to do two things here. First off, we're going to take this planet, so hopefully they get the message and don't take any further guns. I already destroyed the CUL that they were using to try to take this from earlier. That was before I realized I should just record this. But I'm going to do two things here. Like I said, I'm going to, one, teach them that generally speaking they shouldn't do that if they want to keep their planets. And number two, I'm going to show you how you can Rabo cycle, or cycle your Rabos to take a planet. Now, generally speaking, it's best to use this with red planets or green planets. You can do it with blue planets, but it takes forever and you have to be very cautious and very vigilant. But what we're going to do is, Kenny is going to cycle his Rabos. These are his Rabos here. I'm going to burn off the fodder that I have, and I'm going to supply ammunition to the Carls as well as MAU to keep these Rabos at 100% health for as long as I can. We're going to do that in case this guy suddenly pops on and tries to regain control of his planet. This looks like an alternate account because if you pull up the alliance, there are several that are very similar to this name. So I'm not even going to speculate as to who it really is, but I don't care. I'm going to take the planet. So I only have 6 Carls here. I'm going to go ahead and set them up. Now, this being a red planet, you can get them closer. You could place them 15 paces if you want. I don't like doing that. If I can keep them in the safe haven of my planet, I'm still going to do it. There's no need to move them any closer. So we're going to start here and count left, or count to the west. 38, 28, 18, 08. That's roughly the furthest we can place them. So we're going to put them right in the center here. They'll be covered by the blue at the top and the red at the bottom. You really shouldn't consider red in any way, shape, or form safe. Very easy to take. So what we're going to do is we're going to first burn off these Sino because we really don't need them here. And for our purposes, we're not going to use them. Consider this checking the distance between the planets. Even though we know it's going to work, it's still good to check. Okay, so we're good to go. We're all firing. Now, contrary to popular belief, it is not better to use Carls over Dons for red planets. You waste ammunition and resources, but to me, it's not worth switching out Carls for Dons for this. Reason being is every other planet around here is blue. This is the only red one that I know of. So for me to switch these out, it's going to cost over $1 million in fuel to switch them out. More millions to switch the Dons back over, then to re-switch them out all over again. It's simply not cost effective. It's cheaper and quite honestly easier just to keep it at keep pumping the ammunition over. And for our purposes, like I said, we're going to use MAU. I'll probably burn some fodder just for the sake of doing it to get these guns down a little bit more, but for the most part, we're going to use MAU. So let's go to one of our ammunition maps while that's going on. I should have already done this, but I just didn't think about it. Let's go ahead and move these down. Now we have to make sure that when you switch these over, they don't actually hit a planet when you switch them over to the map. So we're going to 362 here. So, all right, it looks like we might just make it. I'm not entirely sure. So let's go to a different map and stage some more ammo. Yeah, it looks like this might be cutting it close too. Now let's see. 362. I don't like that. It's a little bit too close. Those Sino are actually lasting a whole lot longer than I thought they would. It's surprising. I'm actually wondering if Sino would be more cost effective for Reds now. I'm gonna have to double check that. Anyhow, need to get ammunition out. Since I can't remember what all my maps are for, I have it written down here. I gotta pull sticky notes. Alright, 47 is an ammunition map. Man, none of these look good. I also have 208 here. This one doesn't look too bad. Okay, we can definitely use that one. Let's double check our one on 47 here. I don't remember exactly where that was. Alright, 362. Now we can use that too. Excellent. Check our first one, 72. I think this one cuts it a little bit too close. Might be able to use the one up top though. Now if you send one through and it makes it through and it's near a planet, just because it made it through doesn't mean that the planet isn't going to hit it when you move it. See, we're cutting it real close here. Let's send another one through and double check. The enemy planet that you're next to very well could go off with the movement of you sending another one through. And if you don't pay attention or you don't have somebody else on the other side looking, you're going to end up wasting a lot of resources. Ammunition is not cheap. So we are sending 3 through. and we are going to check it here. Looks like we're good. No, we're not good. See? Alright, so we aren't really going to be able to use this unless we want to do it one at a time. And that's ridiculous. That would take us forever. So instead of skipping that, let's try the wormhole that's up a little bit from it. This might work out. Or it might not. I'm gonna find out here. Oh, that one will work. I don't know how I missed that one at first. Let's see, we're out. Need to refill those. You always want to make sure you have ammunition here, otherwise you end up just wasting your fodder. You know, judging by... it's been a long time since I've taken a red planet. Judging by how quickly it's going down, we may not even need MAU. I mean, I'll bring a few over, just in case, in particular in case they decide to come back on, and I need to go to another map to get stuff to defend the planet, or make it go quicker. But other than that, we may just be able to just completely cycle out the Rabos and be just fine. Again, I apologize for the voice. There's nothing I can do about it right now. So let's go ahead and get these ammunition groups transferred over. We're going to do all of them, and don't forget to restart your production if you can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to produce until this is down. Then I'm going to make free ammunition on my home map and transfer it over. Now, you may be wondering, how can I produce ammunition for free? Well, that's another video that I'm working on. I'm going to show you how to make as much as you can for free to mitigate the costs of the game, and what you can do to mitigate your overall cost, because you can do more than just ammunition. My only concern is, if I put out that video, I'm really concerned that Studio Hope, or Ditto Games, whatever they want to call themselves today, because they change so often, I'm worried about them making it so it doesn't work anymore, because they are the most greedy internet game company you could ever meet, or ever play, or ever deal with. I've dealt with an awful lot. There are legitimate ones that do put the players first, and there are other ones, such as Ditto Games here, who don't. You know, if I owned this game, I would be able to quadruple the revenue by making certain changes in the game, making certain things cheaper, changing other things around, and by default, I would increase the player base by doing all of this, therefore increasing the revenue exponentially. There are so many changes to this game that could be made. It would be very beneficial for those who created the game, and even more beneficial to those who play it. Alright, we have our last group over here. Let's go back to the map. I'm not used to going on 362, so the muscle memory isn't quite there yet. Alright, well, these fill up. As you can see, I still have plenty of groups left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit more ammunition, and I'm going to grab some MAU. Yeah, it looks like that'll work. The MAU should be in position about now. Well, still getting there. Yeah, I'm gonna send the rest down just in case. Don't want to be scrambling at the last moment if they pop on to get some, if I don't have to. Now, normally I leave the mini-map so everybody can see it. Because there are a lot of assets stored on this map, and I don't know everybody who's on this map, I'm going to blur it out just for security purposes. Alright, it looks like we've sent over everything that we can. Now let's stage everything and get it in position. Then start. Alright, we're gonna go up and over through here. Get the rest of this ammunition down. Because they won't do anything about this stupid pop-up here. Oh, what do we have here? I don't know who that is. Anyhow, because they won't get rid of this ridiculous pop-up here, in order to avoid it and to get your ships in as close as possible, you have to zoom in so it doesn't set it off yet. I mean, it'll still set it off, but you still have more area to maneuver in. What they need, see, this is a change that I would make. What they need to do is they need to make a button on each map that turns them on and turns it off. You can choose whether it's on or off. Alright, we are going to start the Rabo Cycling here. Actually, Kenny is. Let me go ahead and let him know. I can't type. Alright, what he's going to do is he's going to move them in. At some point, there it goes. He's going to move them in, and he's going to make sure they're all surrounding the planet. Now, the reason why you don't click on the planet right as you go in is because they're going to bounce all around. If you do that, it's really irritating. Looks like he missed one here. I'll tell him to go here in a sec. But what you want to do is you want to move them in, then click on the planet. It'll minimize the bouncing around. And also you got to remember, as they're bouncing around, they're using up fuel. That's the last thing you want to do, especially when you're taking a planet, because it's going to make it more expensive. So the more you can minimize how much these move, the better. Now, when these are cycled, I think he's going to do it this way. I'm not sure. If not, I will tell him to do it this way, because it's honestly the most efficient. What you do is on one side, you have the brand new Rabos, and the ones that get cycled, you put them on the opposite side. There's plenty of room on the opposite side to cycle them, and I also have a planet right here. So that would work out well. So after he cycles them, hopefully he puts them over here, and then we can go from there. Let's go. Alright, as you can see, they've started to move, but they aren't too bad. Alright, one of the Rabos right here you see is at 84%. That's the one that has been targeted first. What you want to do is you want to select it. You want to move it off to the side. And when it gets to about, well, this is a red planet, so when it gets to about maybe 30%, move it out and move it back in. That'll force another one to be targeted. And you just keep doing it as you're cycling the Rabos. So it's getting to about 30%. We're going to move it out. And we're going to move it back in. Start it shooting. Make sure it's on the outside. Now, subsequently, we're going to move the one that is now targeted with the one on the right-hand side. We're going to do that so we can easily grab them both together when we have to cycle them out again. We're going to wait till it gets to about 30% and do the same thing. All the while, we're going to keep watching our ammunition status up here. When we get empty ammunition ships, we're going to toss them in as well. They may or may not be targeted. It doesn't really matter. Alright, if you can see, someone just popped on down here at the corner. Not the corner. Down in the middle. I don't know who it is. We're probably going to find out pretty soon here. I don't know what they do or don't have on this map. Or if it's even that particular individual. But I do think we're going to need this MAU and more of it more quickly than I had anticipated. It all depends on what this fella does, if he can do anything at all. Generally speaking, seeing this many Rabos causes people to pause and think before they do anything. Wouldn't have even noticed these guys if they hadn't taken a few guns from me. Let's go ahead and put these down here. Now, once we get down to the wire, we can recycle these yet again to about 15%. We probably won't have to do that, but you can do that if you need to. Using some MAU to offset the percentages of the Rabos going down, it's often a good thing to do that. Because Kenny has so many Rabos here, I don't think we'll need to do that, though. It all depends on what this guy does, if he does anything at all. I'm going to go ahead and move the MAU over. The guns are actually going down relatively quickly. If we were to use more Carls, they would go down quicker, but it would be much more expensive. Both in fodder and in ammunition, but in this case, particularly, ammunition would be far more expensive. The more Carls you have, the more ammunition you're going to need because the faster the guns go down. So grab one that didn't need to be grabbed here. It looks like we'll probably have just enough ammunition. I won't need to get any more. In case you're wondering how much damage the Rabos are doing versus how much damage the Carls are doing, realistically speaking, the Rabos aren't doing much damage at all. Because they're a multi-purpose ship, they do a little bit of damage to both planet and ship, but ultimately they don't do the most damage. They're kind of the backbone of whatever fleet you're going to make. The Carls are doing the vast majority of the damage here. Now, you can do it with all Rabos without any Carls. You're going to be here a whole lot longer than what this is taking, though. And you're absolutely going to need to use MAU. You won't be able to use just Rabo unless you have an ungodly amount of them, which some people do. Kenny here, all he builds is Carls and Rabos because he's obsessed with points. It isn't necessarily the best way to play, it's just the way he plays. Looks like we're down to 6 guns here. It's not going to take all that much longer. Let's go ahead and spread out some of this ammunition. And we'll get rid of the empties. We'll pull out here when there's 2 guns left and just let it burn off the ammunition. There's really no need in wasting a recharge time when we don't have to. There's plenty of ammunition ships here to take up the role of the fodder. But this is how you cycle Rabos to take a planet. Now you can do this with any capital ship. Rabos are generally the best because they have the most value in armor. And between the capital ships, they also would do the most damage to a planet. You can do it with TIGs. I've done it before. I mean, I have tons of TIGs. But TIGs don't do any damage to a planet whatsoever. They're specifically ship-to-ship ships. But if you want to use them to divert the fire, you can absolutely do that. He's not even bothering to do anything. I don't blame him. It's not worth losing ships over. And hopefully he won't attack anything in the future. This ended up being a win-win though. You get to teach a lesson to another player, and you can make a video to teach somebody how to cycle Rabos. Ultimately what this does is this just saves you time, it saves you resources, and the titanium that it would take to make I'm drawing a blank here, sorry, fodder. But in order to do this, you can clearly see you have to have a large infrastructure put in place. Your average individual can't do this. Now, as a group collectively, you could do this. Say you're in an alliance of 10 people. Each one of you had 4 Rabos. That's 40 Rabos. You could very easily cycle those Rabos out just the same as you're seeing here, only you take turns. We've done that many a time. And if you're wondering, well, how does who know when to move out and when? It's not that difficult. You just see when one's going down, or you set up your stuff in a kind of a clockwise rotation and you just one after another take turns. It's not that difficult at all. The only downside, if you had to come up with a downside to doing this, is now you're going to have to wait for quite a while for all of these Rabos to heal up. But if it's not a map where you're super active on it really doesn't matter. You know, it's a good thing to do. We're now down to 3 guns. Actually, I think we'll go ahead and pull these Rabos out because it's no longer necessary to do this. We have plenty of ammunition ships here. They'll act as the fodder, and rather than letting them go to waste, it makes sense to use them. So we'll move the damaged ones out first, and then we'll move the healthy ones out. Now remember, if your individual is on, if your target is actually online, you need to make sure you keep up constant fire on the planet so they can't shield up. Once they shield up, unless you've got the infrastructure in place to take a shielded planet, you're going to be there forever. And oftentimes it's not worth it. You know what, it might do us good to get a little bit of ammunition. Let me go back to 47 and we'll grab a few. Some of that ammunition needs to get destroyed before I can send any new over. You know, because we don't need all of this, and we will, in fact, need more ammunition. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. I am going to burn a few of these off. Or actually, we might have just enough ammunition, quite honestly. I'm still going to bring a couple over. Yeah, I'm over by 400-ish. Let me see if it'll let me. I'm not buying any more military for this map. I'm not on it enough to make it worth it. If I can't bring over any more ammunition, I'll simply finish it off with the Rabo. No sense in wasting titanium if I don't have to. Nah, it's not gonna let me. Oh well, we'll see how close we can get here. You know, it looks like we're gonna have just enough. We gauged that pretty well, actually. Now remember, when you go to heal your Rabos, or any ship for that matter, the maximum number of ships you can have healing at one time is 6. So if you're trying to pack a whole bunch of ships around a particular planet, here, I'll show you here. As you can see, there are 7. One of them is not going to heal. So you can try moving it around till, all day long. It's never going to heal more than 6 ships at a time. So just gotta be patient and wait, or shuttle it to another ring if you got one. Alright, so we've just finished this planet here. Go ahead and make a conquest ship. And move it over. And while that's happening, just out of curiosity's sake, I'm gonna see who's on. They didn't even bother trying to do anything. Oh, looks like they got a little bit of stuff here. Oh, we can raid that. And behind door number 1. Alright, so he's clearly part of the Alliance, but he either couldn't or just didn't want to do anything. No matter. We still accomplished what we needed to do. Well, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to see in a future video, please just let me know down in the comments and I will be more than happy to make it for you or take care of it. That's about it for this video. Take care, everyone, and have a good day.